My name is Ed Howie, and this is Howie Grow A Brand. If you like what you learned from this video, help us promote this channel by clicking the like button below and subscribing to our channel, Howie Grow A Brand. Ready to go? Let's get into today's chat. So Jacob, tell me exactly what brand you are growing.
For sure. We started Quick Sip Coffee. The genesis of it was actually not even a cold brew brand. It was a bar and coffee shop that we wanted to start in college, inspired by Mark Cuban's story of having a bar in college, right? And we wanted to be big time entrepreneurs, and we figured if we followed that path, maybe it would work. It didn't, but eventually we started selling bottled cold brews out of our backpack in a time where, focus on sweetness and milk and sugar by Starbucks was leading the coffee industry. And we were selling single origin specialty coffee, black in a bottle, out of our backpacks. And we grew that following enough to now I don't even know how many locations we're in, over 20 plus across the state of Texas and in Central Market stores and HEB. So a lot different than selling beer bottles out of our backpacks, but definitely a growing experience.
So you just unpacked a whole lot in a short amount of time. So let's talk about a couple of things. One is cold brew coffee. Explain what that product is and how it fits into the world of coffee.
Yeah, absolutely. For us, cold brew coffee means brewed at ambient or cold temperatures and then packaged and served in a cold environment. That being on your grocery store shelf in the refrigerated section or on tap in your office or a coffee shop, right? Different from hot coffee in the sense that literally it's brewed cold or ambient versus brewed hot. The thing that changes within the coffee is the flavor profile a little bit. It makes it a little bit lighter, not as acidic. And then also with that acid, right, it's actually chemically less acidic. So it's a little bit more easy on your stomach and stuff. That's not stuff that we typically market. We're more focused on, okay, how do we spread the love of craft coffee, which is focusing on those single bean regions and the notes that they produce, similar to the regions where grapes come from and how they produce notes in wine. So that's our focus, and cold brew was our perfect format to do that because it's done for you, right? You can buy a bottle of cold brew and it's already, right? It's brewed for you. You don't have to worry about sourcing the beans and buying a grinder and, brewing the cup of coffee, all this sorts of stuff.
Okay, so convenience is cold. So your product is packaged into a glass bottle, kept in refrigerated temperatures, and sold on the shelves. Now, you just kind of like casually mentioned that you're in HEB and Central Market. So, for our community that has been part of Howie Grow A Brand for a while, my background is HEB. I was director of food service marketing for several years. And a buddy of mine within about 3 weeks said, what is the biggest learning you've had so far at HEB? And this was back in the year 2000, which was like a couple years after you were born. And and so what I told him, this was 3 weeks into my time there, was that, well, I can tell you at HEB, it is very clear you either have a huge win or a huge miss, and there's very little in between. And for anybody who's ever tried to sell a product into HEB, it is not an easy process. So one, huge round of applause that you're even on the shelves at HEB and Central Market, two of the most respected retailers in the world, in the nation. So tell me, how's that going?
It's going awesome. I think, like you were saying, you get a chance when whether you're within the HEB system on the food service side, right? And you're HEB brand facing, or you're a brand going into HEB, you have an opportunity to either make it a big hit or make it a big loss, right? Either way, when you're on shelf, that's what your opportunity is. And for us, we went into HEB saying, okay, we need to put all of our effort into this to make this a big win. And right now, bottles are flying off shelves. We're working more than we ever have. So we're trying to just keep making it a big win as much as we can here in San Antonio, and then hopefully spread that across the state with HEB as well.
So, Jacob, you may be our youngest guest, but you're definitely one of our most experienced guests. Tell me about being the VP, CEO, and manager of Getting Shit Done.
Man, it has been quite the journey to get to that job title, or several of them, right? I think the gist of it is figuring out, okay, we have a challenge, we have an opportunity. What do we do to get to the end of that, or to make that opportunity successful? And a lot of times it may take us, 8 times of doing things inefficiently, but we get it done. And then, the 9th time, maybe we get a little bit better, and we keep going, and we get better and better at it. And I think that's just the nature of getting shit done, right? Is the first time it's going to be ugly, but you're going to get it done. And as you do it more and more, it's going to get better, hopefully.
It's so funny when we first visited and you told me that, and the whole concept of being the VP or president or manager of Getting Shit Done. I was like, you know what? If I were to think about where oftentimes we entrepreneurs fail, is that we think about all the stuff we have to do so deliberately that it overwhelms us, and it can also oftentimes put us into paralysis. Have you ever experienced that?
For sure. Last week, probably. I have that experience all the time. I think the nature of being overwhelmed in entrepreneurship is kind of like, it's one of the job descriptions, right? Or the duties of the job is just
right.
Learning how to handle that overwhelming nature of it. And the getting shit done is just, okay, what actionable things can I do right this second? They may not be the right thing to do in the sense of this is the best way to do it or the most efficient, but as long as it gets done, and that's how you move forward. You can't move forward without not doing something. And it took me a long time to realize that too. So I can't sit here and say, I've done this the whole time, that's why we got to where we are. Like, no, I've had my days for sure.
So, Jacob, I sense that we may have shared some perfectionism tendencies. Well, let me tell you something I learned a little later in life than you, about 4 months ago, was the principle of get mo, which is kind of funny. Let's get mo done. But The principle of get mo is good enough to move on. And I struggle with that all the time, is that I want things perfect, but sometimes in the fight for perfection, we're not getting productivity. We're not creating the outcomes we need. Therefore, perfection isn't attained, nor is outcomes. How do you process that? How do you get mo done?
Yeah, I think when we started, I was not very good at it. And I think what really was the instance that made me learn was kind of our first sale where we didn't close it, right? And it was a local retail shop. I went in, I gave my best pitch possible, the one I'd been given to everyone, and the ones that's been producing sales, right? And to hear no, it was like, okay, that's fine. Well, how do we get that into a yes? And I continued to kind of strategize and ponder over this one account that probably wouldn't have moved much product anyway over the course of a month, only to realize that I just wasted all of that time because I was trying to perfect this pitch for this one thing that just wasn't going to work, right? And the do good enough, right, or get mo done philosophy. Yeah. If I would have been following that, I would have closed 10 more accounts and not worried about it, right? Because wouldn't have had to worry about the perfect pitch. Just get enough done to, make more sales and gain more accounts.
That is great because, I know we all can relate to the fact of that when we see a customer who we feel like we're the perfect fit for, we just want to be the perfect fit for them. We want the revenue, obviously. We want the profitability.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, if you're in sales full time, you're probably more conditioned to rejection. But to be the lead generating entrepreneur, especially early on, you want every single win you can get. And I will tell you, I agree with you. It is hard to walk away from some non-wins, some non-yeses. But that wisdom you just shared, as far as think about how much time you could have spent on the future yeses if you'd moved on, Wow. Okay, so if anybody in our community is actually in the grocery or convenience store category, which I know a bunch of you are, Jacob, how can someone get in touch with you to find out how they can talk to you about getting your product on their shelf?
Absolutely. My email is jacob@quicksipcoffee.com. You can email me anytime. I will probably answer at any time as well. So
Jacob@quicksipcoffee.com. The best thing you could do for Jacob and his enterprise is to go to HEB if you're in San Antonio and buy not just 1, 2, 3, 6 bottles of product. You're going to love it. That's the cool part about it, but you're going to help him bring velocity, which is going to help him get more stores within HEB, more brand recognition, and I can't wait to see what you do, not only with Quick Sip, but with all the other things that are in your future, Jacob. Thanks for visiting with me today, man. I tell you, this is how you grow a brand.
Thank you, Ed. I appreciate it.
I hope this helps and inspires your day. If any of this works on your business this week, I'd love to hear about it in the comments, or please message me directly. Can't wait to see what we chat about on the next episode. We'll see you soon.